Room 21 Rockstar families. It's so great to see you for our weekly podcast. This past week was one for the record books. First of all, I want to thank all of the families who came out to back to school night. I hope you were able to take something away from the night, and I really appreciate all of the feedback for the Barrett Academy. I would just ask that those of you who have not yet returned the Barrett Academy family feedback form, if you could do that. I stuck one in every Friday folder. If you could just do that within the next few days, that would be great. It's great information for us to plan for the future. We hope that your student is having conversations with you at home about the different things that we're practicing in the academy and about things that they're engaging in throughout the day. So my challenge for the home would actually be to work on some of those conversations at home and talk about things that we're learning in school. Ask your child to kind of engage in those conversations. Ask them how they're challenging themselves to meet the expectations of the Barrett Academy Constitution. I am so proud of every single one of the scholars. We're making such great gains in that area. As for the week of learning that we just had, it was one for the record books. On Wednesday, we actually had a campfire where we shared our writing around the fire. We engaged in some division and multiplication problem solving. It was just a really great week. I think we really took a lot out of learning this past week. We have another great day of planning ahead in room 21. Remember, tomorrow we actually do not have school. Students do not have school. Teachers will be at school getting ready for the learning ahead. This week we're actually going to work on our claymations in social studies. The students were assigned to their Native American tribe, and this week they're actually going to be really getting down to business with their claymations. If you do not know what a claymation is, you can actually go to YouTube and type in a claymation. You'll be able to see a lot of cool claymations that other students in schools have made. You may remember some of the claymations back in the day on the VHSs that were made for different holidays and things like that. A couple of other announcements before I show you some new features that we're going to have in our weekly podcast. By the end of the week, I'm going to have a social studies study video for Unit 2 because we have a Native Americans assessment coming up next week. So I'll probably get that on Friday or Saturday for the rock stars to look at, to use, to study, to plan the week ahead. Also this week we'll be sending home an Academy newsletter with just some announcements telling you about how the houses are doing with their points, where they're ranked, stacked up to one another. Look for that on Tuesday or Wednesday as well. Now, the next part of the video for the week is actually going to show you some things you can use right in the home. So stay tuned for some great strategies that I hope you will find useful in the home. Okay, Rockstar family, so one of the major strategies I actually want to show you this week is looking at division word problems. And number one, figuring out that the operation that we have to use is division. And number two, how to approach that problem. So my problems reads, Ben has $25.87 for his lunch and his three friends. His mom told him to split the money evenly between himself and his friends. How much money will each person have for lunch? So one of the major things we're actually talking about in class right now is highlighting just the mathematical information. So Ben has $25.87, so I'm going to highlight that. And he has his three friends. That's a pretty big deal. And one of the major words I see here is split. That's something we learned with division. The word split and evenly are two things that really tell me that we're probably going to be dividing for this problem, as well as the word each in the question. How much money will each person have for lunch? So if I just read what I have highlighted, I read $25.87, I read three friends, split evenly each. And something else you can actually do is have your child draw a picture at home of this word problem, visualize it in their head. We practice making a movie in our mind to make sure we can actually visualize what this problem is saying to us. And then we would go about solving it. So as you can see here on the screen, where my cursor is at, I set up my problem like this, $25.87 with the house and 4 on the outside, $25.87 divided by 4. And in this case, I use the partial quotients theory, where you draw this line down right here and you decide to yourself, how many times can 4 go into $25.87? So I did a rough estimate. I know my facts, 4 times 6, and I thought that would be 24. So I write my 6 right over here. 6 times 4 is 24. I put that right here, subtract. and I get $1.87. So I say in my mind, 4 cannot go into $1.87. So that's the end of my problem. I would then add up my partial quotients right here. I have 6, and my remainder is $1.87. So each friend will get $6, and then you'd actually have to add on that $1.87 onto that total to make it $7.87. So that's just something you can practice at home. It's a good way to practice those word problem skills. Now, what we're actually going to learn this week is looking at expressions like you now see on the screen. This is called the order of operations. How do we approach a problem like this? How do we go about and solve it? So the first thing I actually want to show you is a video, a movie that another class has created at another school in the country that we're actually going to learn this week. We're going to sing the order of operations song. Here it is. So as you can see, we're going to learn about the order of operations. And really, what is that? Well, we're really starting to get into the foundations of algebra this week in class. So if you look at the expression that I'm highlighting right now on your screen, you'll see it says 3 times, open parentheses, 5 minus 2, close parentheses, plus 5. So we have to decide what do we do first? Because I see we're multiplying, we're subtracting, and we're adding all in this number sentence. So the order of operations, as that song teaches us, actually tells us what to do first. And another way to remember it is actually PEMDAS, which tells us we go with the parentheses, and then the exponents, and then we multiply, divide, and then we add and subtract. So if you look at my expression right here, 3 times, open parentheses, 5 minus 2, close parentheses, plus 5, you'll see that I actually subtract what's in the parentheses first. That's what the order of operations tells me to do, the P. Parentheses are first. So 5 minus 2 is 3. Now the important thing we're going to be learning this week is that we only can do one operation at a time. So as you can see, I have to bring everything else down. I have 3 times now 3 plus 5. Now my next step is exponents. We don't have any exponents in this problem. We may get to that by the end of the week if we're able to get to that point. And then after that, we multiply and divide at the same time as the song says. We just go from left to right if we have to multiply and divide multiple things. So what I would do next is take 3 times 3. I'm not looking at that plus 5 yet. So 3 times 3 is 9. And then I bring down my plus 5. So we are done with our multiplying and dividing. Now we're on to adding and subtracting, same way, left to right, depending on how it's there, like we read a book. And all we have left to do is actually take 9 plus 5, and we get 14. Now what we're actually going to talk about this week is, if we do not do this in the right order, we could get different answers. So that's why the order of operations is so very important. And we're actually going to start looking at some variables and really laying the groundwork for our algebra come middle school. So really exciting week in math, and we are up for the challenge, so I cannot wait for that. One final thing I wanted to show you is actually one of my favorite commercials on TV right now, and I'm not just showing you this because it's one of my favorite commercials. I'm actually showing you it because this week in writing, we're actually looking at writing to a specific audience. When we write, we have to think to ourselves, who is going to read this? And so one of the things you can do at home this week is actually look at advertisements, look at newspapers, look at TV commercials, and say, who do they want to look at this? Who do they want to read it? Who do they want to listen to? So I'm just going to play this commercial really quickly, and I want you to think, who is this commercial aimed at?
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Ronnie, how happy are folks who save hundreds of dollars switching to Geico? I'd say happier than a camel on Wednesday.
Hump day!
Get happy, get Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
So the major message here, guys, is simply the fact that this commercial is aimed at folks, maybe younger folks, people who are working, grown adults who are looking to buy insurance. And they're trying to add a happy spin to it and basically saying, if you get Geico, you're going to be happy you did. You're going to be able to get over that hump day. So the big thing to remember is with writing to an audience or just looking at objects is just go around anywhere in the house, go down the road, look at the billboards. Who are they trying to write that for? We're going to do that a little bit this week. We're actually going to be given 2 different audiences and then one topic to write about through each of those people's eyes and them as an audience. Hi, family. So I hope you enjoyed our new element to our podcast. I think it's really going to help to bring the learning in the classroom into the home, give you immediate strategies. Give me some feedback about it. Let me know. Do you like it? What would you like to see with our weekly podcast to make best use of your time? I cannot tell you how honored I am to teach each and every one of your students. It's so much fun coming to work every day and teaching the Room 21 rock stars. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, do not hesitate to contact me. I can't wait to see the rock stars on Tuesday, and have a great week to the best families in Stafford County.